Today, we're deconstructing the hidden psychological and biological roots of the ultimate fixers. If you're the kind of person who's literally always stepping in to handle the chaos, I am so excited to guide you through this. We're going to break down the unseen architecture of your mind, layer by layer. We'll explore the profound reasons why you simply can't ask for help, and why you feel this undeniable need to constantly manage, control, and frankly, customize every visual and emotional aspect of your surroundings.
So, are you the ultimate fixer? I mean, be honest with yourself here. You're the one everyone calls in a crisis, right? You're the friend who shows up without the drama, who always has a plan, and who keeps a remarkably cool head when everything else is just falling apart. But here's the wild paradox we're exploring today. When your own world gets heavy, when the pressure is entirely on your shoulders, you suddenly go completely silent. While everyone else is venting or asking for a hand, you're sitting there, quiet, trying to figure it out entirely by yourself, meticulously customizing and adjusting every single visual and structural detail of your life just to avoid needing anyone.
If that silent struggle sounds familiar, listen to me. You aren't broken, and you aren't just being stubborn. Seriously, think about it. If you'd rather spend 4 agonizing hours battling a flat-pack IKEA shelf, sweating, cursing at a tiny Allen wrench, and deciphering impossible visual diagrams, than spend literally 5 minutes asking a friend for a hand, well, psychology shows us something totally fascinating. Your brain might actually be wired to see vulnerability, the simple act of asking for help, not as a logical shortcut, but as a total, crushing admission of defeat. To you, it feels like a fundamental failure of your own competence.
Let's get into Section 1, the burden of the fixer. We're going to reflect on your survival mechanisms.
Okay, so to understand the present, we really have to examine the past. Let's talk about what's called a high-contingency environment. It's basically a setting where your actions and the outcomes are directly linked. For so many of us, extreme self-reliance wasn't just some cute personality quirk we casually picked up. It was a hardcore, necessary adaptation. If you grew up as a latchkey kid, or in an environment where you were frequently unsupervised, you learned a very early, very real lesson about how the world works. You came home to an empty house, you completely tailored your own afternoon routine, and you learned that you just couldn't always count on someone being there. You realized very quickly that if a problem popped up, you were absolutely your only reliable safety net.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how your childhood brain linked action to outcome. Picture this for a second. A problem occurs. Say, the bike chain slips off while you're riding around the neighborhood, or the TV suddenly goes to static. The crucial realization hits almost immediately, doesn't it? No technician, no adult, absolutely no rescuer is coming. So what do? You execute. You flip that bike upside down right there on the pavement, you get black grease all over your hands, and you figure it out yourself. Right then and there, your brain wired a distinct, powerful pathway. Action equals outcome, and the only capable actor available in your environment is you.
Now, this brings us to a fascinating concept known as mechanical intuition. That empty house environment built a deeply ingrained belief that with enough patience, a clear head, and a literal screwdriver, you can master not just physical objects, but complex emotional worlds too. It created a highly effective coping mechanism for a kid. But, well, here's the side effect. Your adult brain is still operating in that empty house. Deep down, your subconscious genuinely believes that if you don't fix it alone, it simply won't get done. So you end up applying this rigid, mechanical, fix-it mindset to emotional burdens that actually require human connection and shared vulnerability.
Moving on to Section 2, the biology of solo processing. Here, we're deconstructing the blueprint of your mind. There is such a stark contrast between your low-stimulation preference for handling your own stress versus the boundless energy you freely give to everyone else. You likely value depth over noise. You recharge in stillness. When there's a problem, you want to perfectly tailor your environment. You're controlling the lighting, you're lowering the volume, and you are literally curating the entire visual and auditory vibe of your space so you can focus completely. You customize your visuals to regulate your emotions. But then consider your empathy allocation. You're incredibly generous with your energy when fixing others' problems. Yet when someone else directs their chaotic, unpredictable energy at your mess, it feels entirely overwhelming. It completely disrupts that perfect, customized visual and mental environment you've built to cope.
Asking for help feels like handing over the remote control to someone else. I mean, wow, that perfectly captures the biological anxiety of the hyper-independent person. Bringing someone else into your problem feels like adding chaotic, unpredictable noise to a highly focused, carefully managed internal process. You've set the frequency perfectly to solve your problem. You've visually and mentally adjusted your surroundings to exactly what you need. Someone else trying to help feels like they're just grabbing the remote and scrambling the signal, completely throwing off the delicate balance you rely on to process stress. Which brings us to Section 3, Armor Disguised as Independence. Let's look at the hidden trauma of changing rules.
Let's really break down the components of this armor. If you view asking for help as a failure of your own competence, ask yourself why. Often, it's because you've been economically or emotionally traumatized by seeing authority figures absolutely drop the ball in the past. You've watched the rules change right in front of you without any warning whatsoever. And because of that deep unpredictability, you became fiercely loyal to your own skill set. You decided, probably really early on, that your own competence was the absolute only thing you could truly control in such an unpredictable world. Ultimately, all of this builds a massive protective wall around one silent mantra: the less people know about my struggle, the safer I am.
It's so important to validate exactly who you are right here. You are not a broken, stubborn, or detached person just because you want to handle things internally. You are simply a person who values peace over performance. You aren't avoiding help just to be difficult or to push people away. You're preserving your hard-won peace. You are fiercely protecting the emotional equilibrium, and frankly, those calm, carefully customized visual spaces that you fought so incredibly hard to build for yourself over the years.
Let's wrap things up with Section 4, redefining strength and reciprocity. We call this the brain flip.
Being a bridge for everyone else is an incredible strength, but even the strongest bridges need maintenance. Think about that. You have spent your entire life being the structural support for everyone around you, ensuring they can cross troubled waters safely. But allowing reciprocity into your life, actually allowing someone else to support you, is not a weakness. It's the fundamental, necessary maintenance that keeps you standing strong. If you don't allow that maintenance, if you never let anyone reinforce your beams, eventually the bridge cracks under the silent weight. You've structured your entire life to be the one who fixes things. You've meticulously tailored your world, completely customizing your environment so that you never, ever have to lean on anyone else. But you know what? Sometimes the most radical, brave thing you can possibly do is accept support. Letting someone in doesn't mean you failed. It means you're finally strong enough to share the load. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. After a lifetime of fixing everything yourself, are you finally ready to let someone else hold the screwdriver for a minute